It's Project 95. The end of days for Project 95. Um, yeah. So this is it's bittersweet. It's all this coming to a close is bittersweet. So here's where we're at, right? I drove back from Philly, got pulled over, the whole license thing. Went to Serpico with Winton, so I didn't even get to sleep until probably like 6 in the morning today. What would have been today? Um, and I was psyched because I had some traveling companions for this little jaunt up to Lake Placid. Um, Matthew Carl Riley, the Jam Boys, who's looking for more fights. You may have seen his video. Um, and one of his buddies, uh, maybe that's not. Maybe he was at the time, but he would become an adversary of ours uh, over time. He sort of wore out his welcome at Lemoyne. Um, and this trip up to Lake Placid was in the midst of it. His name was Keith Gonsalvo. I mentioned him earlier. Um, and see, being not being there, I didn't really know the extent of it. I'm hoping Riley will chime in with some Consalvo backstory, how he ended up at Lemoyne. His car broke down in the Harrison Hall parking lot. And I just remember Ed having to take him to Pep Boys every 30 minutes, basically. Hey, can you give me a ride on a Pep Boys? And setting fires underneath the engine block because the starter had seized up. I don't know. All these things were happening, and all I know is he was in the car with us going up to Lake Placid. Um, Side note here, this was another time my dad called and tracked me down and was like, he wanted me to work that day, today and like the next day. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just not. Um, and it wasn't like I talked to him. He left messages with random Travis or whoever in the suite, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm doing this, so I can't do that. So these 2 nights were a blur for me. It was a whirlwind, as it were, and everything, good and bad, was exacerbated by the fact that I was on my deathbed. I got deathly ill. The flu, whatever it was, I was like, by night 2, I was struggling. And it showed. Like I was just dragging around, and I'll get to that though. But so the timeline, Riley and I were trying to piece it together. The timeline's sort of up for debate, I guess. But it's my recollection that I I got I went to bed so early slash late, however you want to look at it, that I slept for a while, and then we didn't get an early start up to Lake Placid. Lake Placid's probably like 3.5 from Lemoyne, um, but with the back roads, there's no quick way to get there. It's probably a 4 hour drive, um, and I I want to say we left with enough time to get there around 5 o'clock, maybe. Um, and because um, I think we just went to the show and then went back to the hotel. Excuse me, motel. We 100% stayed in a M hotel, not an H hotel. Um, and I don't even know how we got it. I have no idea. But there must have been a little bit of planning involved. Um, so maybe Riley had gotten it. Again, I'm hoping Riley sends a video of his recollection of this entire weekend, or 2 nights. Um, so it's me, Riley, and Consalvo. And Consalvo was armed only with a harmonica. And he played it incessantly. In the car on the way up, walking around Lake Placid, which is such a cool town. Like, if you ever get a chance to go up there, um, anytime. It's pretty cool in the winter. Um, do it. It's a pretty cool little town. Um, and I mean, during the show, like with the band, yeah, we had that going on. So I don't want to speak for Riley, but you can see Riley getting if you look at, there's a picture of him that I posted in the initial post for this show, and Riley looks like pretty miffed. But anyway, the show itself, again, there's this feeling of this is it, right? Like the last 2 nights are up in Lake Placid. The town is completely overtaken by wooks and fans and things like that. And they get to rocking and rolling. Pretty hard, actually. So pre-show, we go in early and just out of nowhere run into Matt Davis. Matt Davis is a clash of the Jam Boys, basically. He is Fisher. He's from the Fisher, Albany, Delmar Jam Boys chapter, and I'm from the Lemoyne Clarence UB, the Lemoyne Clarence chapter. If I don't know, I'm making this up right now. But it was this sort of like, holy shit, Davis, and all he kept saying was how he was tripping balls. He just kept using the phrase tripping balls. Oh man, I don't know, man. I'm just like tripping balls, man. And I think we brought up Cleveland. Remember in Cleveland, I was like, I feel like I ran into Davis there. But it was this show that I ran into him. And I would again the following year in fall 96. They opened, sorry, dropped my thing. Fall 96, they opened the fall tour in Lake Placid. And he was there with Fisher, and I went with Winton. And again, that's another thing. Like in 96, did we know each other was going to be there? I don't know. There's this thing that happens, though, when you see Phish at a venue more than once, you start to conflate memories from it. This happened with Sonny with Cleveland. So those the Tyler boys slash Tyler Jam boys, they went to Cleveland with me in '95, as I detailed for you. It was me, Sonny, Baudo, Romans, Mark Johnson, and Philippe. We went to Cleveland. Da 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 da. 2 years later, almost to the day, they played Cleveland, same venue. 97, it was like 12/5/97 as opposed to 12/8/97. And I wasn't there. I was living in North Carolina. I was not there. So Sonny sends me a video about Cleveland 95, and he goes into this whole story about Cleveland 97, which was they all piled into Sonny's car. Bunch of them. Bob, Phil, Romans, Kazara, all those guys. And it was like a blizzard, and they ended up getting spun off the road and almost died, but made it to the show. Like that whole thing. They debated turning around and going back. I'm like, that wasn't 95. That was 97. He's like, wait, what? And I remember, because I remember Romans telling me about the whole thing over the phone, maybe, I think. So that happens, and it happened with this Lake Placid thing, because I'm like, I thought Davis and I ran into each other in 96. But we sort of had this back and forth trying to piece it together. And I think we got it right. So how the guy who was tripping balls remembers better than the sober guy, I don't know. It's just one of those things. So yeah, totally ran into Davis. He was spinning off the face of the earth, basically. So they get down to business this night, dude. Buried DC Bag. Buried Alive. Where's Buried Alive been? Right? I'd have to crunch the numbers, but I haven't seen that very much. And the exclamation points are starting to come out, dude. They're starting to come out. Buried DC Bag. Fog. Have you heard of the song? It's called Fog That Surrounds. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Of course, it's not that anymore. It's basically taste. So coming out with some heaters again. Like this run of shows, just these sequences that are mind-blowing. Buried DC Bag, Fog, Yamar, Sloth, Divided. Like that's a 6-song run. 2 exclamation point, Divided. This is before I had a spell where I would time out the pause in Divided Sky. Like if you go through, I'm inconsistent with it. And I think I was just like, do I really want to do this? Dogface Boy after that, and then they continue to just really lean into these Julius's. This one got, for a Julius in 95 to get 3 exclamation points, like something was going on, basically. And I think they just were looking at it like when they kind of fell in love with Character Zero. Remember those Character Zeros in like 96 just absolutely rip? I think Julius was that song in 95 where it was just like, hey, we can just really go rock and roll with this thing. So nice Julius. And then the 90s GOAT, Susie. I'm calling it. Susie is the 90s GOAT song. Phish song. What's this doing here? That's not doing anything. Um, so that's the first set. Um, and I'm looking at set. Meanwhile, yes, Consalvo is playing harmonica for most of these, um, regardless of if he has the right key or whatever. He is just fucking humming away. Um, so in the second set, I guess ironically wrote ass t-shirt thrower. So somebody threw a shirt on stage. I told that story about UB and never finished the story about how I heard that, oh, this band, they're so cool. Like if you just, if you throw something on stage, they'll play a song like that. So I mentioned that I brought a Guns N' Roses shirt to the UB 94 show, and I was on the rail in front of Mike, and I 100% threw the shirt at him. It landed right at his feet, and he saw me throw it. He watched it land, and that was the end of it. They did not play Paradise City the way I had been told they would. They did not go into a Guns N' Roses medley the way I was told they would. So I guess what a year and a half difference a year and a half makes. Now I'm pissed at the guy throwing a shirt on stage. uh, nice. Sample opener. Second set. Second song, second set. Reba. This is a 4-point Reba. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that one. Right now I'm listening to the mics. The 5 points. Scent, Cavern, Mike, Simple, Weekapog. Now at the time in '95, like I'm a Weekapog guy. I'm a Mike's Groove guy. That and Rebo are my two jams. So I was just, yeah. I mean, think about that in the same set. Then I have Gordon Fest '95. I have to listen. I'm gonna have to get to that Weekapog here. Gordon Fest '95. He probably just did some cool slaps, which I always liked. I don't know if he. Usually, I'll note if somebody's sort of prevalent in the mix, or if Mike's thumping particularly hard, or Phish's kick is. I usually note that maybe that's what Gordon Fest '95 means. And then just a gorgeous coil to end it. And then a rarity, a 5-point fire encore. 5-point fire encore. I can just picture it. Trey's excited to be done, looking forward to New Year's, and he's just like, they're empty in the tank at this point, right? What do you got to lose? Let's fucking shred this thing. So they just tear up Hendrix's fire, and then we get to come back another day. But here's the thing: motel, hotel, Holiday Inn. Riley and me and Consalvo have a motel room. Emphasis on mo. And the memory that sticks out, you can see it. I can't believe there are certain pictures I can't believe I have. And that's one of them. There's a picture of me and Riley snuggled up in bed. That's in the motel, and we are 100% watching American Gladiators. Because it's like probably midnight, right? in 1995, we were not alone in watching American Gladiators. And Consalvo was probably, I think he had a cot, or maybe he might have been on the floor, just in a sleeping bag or something, um, taking the picture. And I probably playing harmonica, playing himself to sleep on harmonica. But the memory, Riley even brought it up today. He's like, I distinctly remember um, watching American Gladiators snuggled up with you. And I'm like, me too. And I sent the picture. Um, so that at least we have that, because the next night was even more harrowing. Um, the show was great, but I was spiraling, and every place was crowded, and we were tired, and Riley was at his wits end with Consalvo, and I was kind of like out of it, like I said. And the music buoyed us um for a bit, and then the ride home is something that is I'll leave that for tomorrow. So come back tomorrow, closing night, Olympic Center, Lake Placid. um I'll see you guys at that.